Wait, video games? It's the same video game as last time? Hi, I'm Crep and I can't stop playing Sonic Mania. And Sonic Mania Plus just came out. Title screen's gonna say plus. It said plus. So I thought it'd be fun to do a little follow-up video now that Plus is out to my 2-hour single segment Let's Play. Single recording, single session, yeah, those. Let's Play I just put out, where I take a little more in-depth look at the playable characters, because something that I love in 2D platformers especially, but in a lot of games, is having character variety. Just little differences between characters that make one or the other more fun to play as. It's where a lot of fighting games get their mileage too. Now that Mighty and Ray have been added thanks to Mania Plus, I thought it'd be neat to kind of contrast everyone and go into detail about why you might want to play one over the other. You know, playstyles, it's fun, it's interesting, let's take a look at it. Through the power of video editing, I'll be playing as different characters between different zones. This will also be a sort of truncated playthrough. I will not be playing through the entire game, and at the very end we'll kind of skip a lot of content and just go straight to the endings for each character. Actually, no. Do I want to do that? You get to find out. I'm going to decide as I record. Have fun with that. Let's go. So the cool thing about Sonic Mania Plus is that you can skip cutscenes now. So welcome to Green Hill Zone. I'm playing as Sonic, and Sonic has the best ability in the entire game. It's called the Drop Dash. It makes everything fun, it makes everything fast, it makes everything... It keeps the pace up. It makes everything. It's good, and I love it, and when I go to sleep at night, Drop Dash comes in, tucks me in, tells me that I did a good job today. That's all I need in life. Now the problem with the Drop Dash is that the elemental shields exist. The elemental shields are pulled from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Of course they were, because Sonic Mania pulls the best things from all the previous Sonic games, pretty much. And so we have the electric shield, which then replaces the drop dash with a double jump. And the double jump is pretty cool, but it's no drop dash. It lets you get around a little more easily, which is why you can do things like that, which is cool. It'd be a little hard to get up here with just the drop dash. Maybe doable, maybe not, who cares? But it's still pretty cool. You know what's also cool is this bounce from the bubble shield, which I adore, but it's also not that useful, unfortunately. Most of the level design doesn't really give you a good reason to use it, which is unfortunate, because I like it a lot. And, you know, just the lightning shield is more useful than it in pretty much every context, so... Oops. And there's one more. It's the flame shield. Flame shield gives you an air dash, which is pretty neat. I'm sure speedrunners love it. Whoop. It's just fun for getting around quickly, but I think so's drop dash, so your mileage may vary. Whoop. It's my favorite. It just feels so good. It's hard to communicate how good the drop dash feels, but it is. It's perfect. Nope, not interested in that. No time for Chaos Emeralds this playthrough. Just time to play. And that's pretty much all there is to say about Sonic. I guess the other thing to note is that he's not any faster than the other characters in terms of ground speed. He just isn't. You know, that's just kind of how it is. If the other characters were slower than Sonic, they wouldn't be as fun to play as, so... they had to make a choice, and the choice is making everyone the same speed. So the cool thing about Sonic in Sonic Mania is that over the course of playing the game, you actually unlock other movesets for him, taken from Sonic 2D and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So right now, I have the Super Peel out. Wow, it's video editing. Didn't have that before. Now the only thing is, now that I have the Super Peel out, I don't have anything I can do in the air. Which is kind of boring, honestly. Especially because, like, as you get better at 2D Sonic games, you learn how to use the spin dash more effectively than the Super Peel Out. Now the Peel Out has a lot of charm, but it consistently takes a moment to wind up, whereas, like, the spin dash can be tossed out so quickly. That's okay, because I don't have to play with the Super Peel Out. I can play with other things too. For example, I could play around with the Insta Shield, which is the other thing that you unlock to play as for Sonic in Sonic the Mania the Hedgehog. This is the one that's from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and in that game, the Insta Shield is pretty adored by people who actually know how to use it, and very confusing for anyone who doesn't know how to use it. Basically, it extends Sonic's hitbox for an instant, which means that he can hit things that he couldn't hit just by jumping into them if they're like just out of reach. It also grants him invulnerability during that brief moment, which lets him not take damage from environmental hazards, which is pretty cool. Also lets him harm spiked enemies. So there's a lot of neat utility to it. Unfortunately, it's not as good in Sonic Mania, just straight up. It doesn't have as big a hitbox, and that completely changes how useful it is. The other thing is that in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, whenever you jumped out of a roll, like say if I spin dash here and then jump out of it, not the greatest place to show it off, but if I spin dash and then jump out, I can still move left and right manually. In Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you can't do that. It locks your direction, it locks your speed, and it locks your momentum. Well, I mean, your momentum can still decrease, because that's how it is when you spin dash, when you're rolling on the ground too. You're affected by air resistance just as much. But in Sonic CD and in this game, whenever you jump out of a roll, you can just move left and right fine. And so, one of the defining features of the Insta Shield in Sonic 3 is that it actually breaks that control lock whenever you use it out of a roll jump. So, one of the biggest reasons to use it in Sonic 3 and Knuckles is also just gone, so it's just not as good, which is unfortunate, because it's still a cool move. But, oh well, gives me more reason to use the drop dash. But, also Tails is here. I kind of forgot to mention that. When you play as Sonic and Tails, you can press up and jump, and Tails will start flying, and then you can have him grab onto Sonic, and you can bring Sonic places that you normally can't get to, which is pretty neat. Oh, that was fun. And yeah, Tails is a good buddy. He's very fun and useful. I don't often play with him when I play as Sonic, but there's really no reason not to. Sometimes it can be a thing, but most of the time it's not. Wow, shenanigans. Oh, the reason I'm not skipping this cutscene is because it'll be useful in video editing. Oh no, Sonic is gone. Oh well. I guess Tails is fine. So unfortunately, Tails is like my least favorite character in this game, my least played by far. It's not like I dislike him as a character or anything. Really, no. Tails is great. He's a wonderful little buddy. He's my best pal, actually. Let go of me. The problem is that his gameplay doesn't interest me at all in the context of a Sonic game. It's neat, and it has its place, and it's really important, and I would never want to lose it, but it doesn't do anything for me. Because the reason I like Sonic games is because they can be so fast-paced and frenetic, and just feel like if you know what you're doing, you can just keep the pace up and keep going quick, and it has great flow. Flow is like a really important thing. Tails flying has no flow to me. And yeah, Tails can fly. He's got his double tails, and he can make them twist around like propellers, and it makes no sense, and it's great, and I love it. And the problem is that if you do it too much, you can't, like, make yourself fall faster. And it just doesn't feel good to me. Now, like I said, Tails has its place, and this ability is wonderful for beginners to the series. But it's just, I'm not a beginner. I play this game a lot. Also fun, when he's underwater, he can swim instead of flying. I think when he swims, he gets tired a little less fast. He gets tired, by the way, which is how you can't fly forever. Poor little kid gets tuckered out. Oh no, am I gonna get crushed? I got crushed. Good, I'm glad that I got crushed in Chemical Plant in both playthroughs of this game. So, Tails just doesn't... I'm glad I got crushed in the exact same stupid way. Both times. Both recordings. It's great, I just can't stop myself. This is how I play this game, apparently. Let's get out of here. No! So let's do this the smart way. I'm playing as Tails, so I don't even have to do this at all. I'm being a Dumbo. Just go up here. Wow, was that so hard? So... yeah, I don't get anything out of Tails flying. I guess that's... okay. That's fine. That's valid. I hope it's valid. I'm calling myself valid, but I can't make that distinction for myself. I can't make that judgment call. But the important thing is that Tails is still a good boy, and he's super cute, and I love him. Not really much else I can say, I guess. Oh yeah, the other thing is that his tails have a hurt box, or hitbox, or whatever, when he's flying. So you can actually use that to hit stuff that would normally be out of reach for, like, your jumping ability, or Sonic's jump, which gives Tails a bit of an edge in boss fights, which is kind of cool. I think it's all about I have to save for Tails, but there's another active Chemical Plant Zone, so let's just be done with it then. Let's move on to Knuckles. Now, I said earlier this would be a truncated playthrough, but it's also going to be a pretty non-linear one, too. I decided I wanted to hop around from zone to zone because certain levels in Sonic Mania show off character strengths better than others. Besides, it gives me an opportunity to actually show off the one zone that only Knuckles gets to play. We're to Mirage Saloon 1. Because this is a Knuckles-only zone, it's pretty much tailored toward his playstyle. If, how do I put this? If Green Hill Zone is like a playground for Sonic, Mirage Saloon is like a playground for Knuckles. There's pretty much no shortage of walls to climb. So yeah, let's get into it. The big thing that Knuckles has is that he can glide out of a jump, which gives him immediate horizontal direction. It gives him immediate speed in a certain horizontal direction, left or right. And incidentally, the longer you glide, the faster you go, but you don't usually get to see that too much. And then if Knuckles hits a wall while he's gliding, most walls anyway, there's some exceptions, start climbing up it. Move up and down, jump off any time. It synergizes pretty well, actually. And I really gotta wonder who the heck came up with it, too. It's a really unusual moveset for a platformer, for a Sonic game, but it works really well. Despite the fact that it's kind of inherently more slow-paced, it doesn't feel slow in the same way that Tails does. It doesn't feel like I'm lacking in control at any point when I'm playing Knuckles, which is nice. In fact, Knuckles is probably the most controlled character in all 5 of the characters in this game, but probably in most Sonic games too, whenever you can play as him anyway. You have a really good freedom of control over your glide in a way that feels natural, and there is no momentum or inertia to his climbing. It's completely static, so it brings him in line with more other traditional platformer controls, which is nice. Makes for a neat change of pace. Oops. And I guess while I'm here, I'll say that I love the color palette in this zone, too. In general, like, Mirage Saloon is one of the best looking zones in the game, and the way they mess around with different palettes for different times of day as you progress through the zone is really clever and really well done. And this is kind of what I was talking about when I said this is a playground for Knuckles. It's really designed for you to have to glide and climb walls to get around, which is not something most other zones can do outside of some very select paths that are Knuckles exclusive. And having it be a theme for the whole act is really unique. There we go. Getting some signs of daybreak here. Bright yellow, my favorite. Something unique about Mirage Saloon 1 that I don't think happens in any other zone in any other classic Sonic game is that there are moving objects that Knuckles can climb on. Those floating platforms over abysses that we were seeing earlier. They bob up and down in a way that usually signifies something that Knuckles cannot latch onto, but in this case he totally can. It's rather refreshing. It'd be nice to see more of that in other zones. Hopefully done in ways that won't let Knuckles break the game, though. That's always a positive. The other cool thing about Knuckles Glide that I don't know if I'll get to show off too well, depends. We'll see if maybe something comes up in Mirage Saloon Act 2. Is that... By the way, there's a unique boss for this, since it doesn't really make sense to have Knuckles fight the big caterpillar that Sonic and Tails fight from the tornado. Knuckles doesn't have a plane. What I was gonna say was that if you time your glide well when you bounce right off of something, you can actually get a real big height boost while gliding. When normally you start gliding, you immediately cancel out like all of your vertical momentum and start going immediately horizontal with a slight downwards drag. Just like that. Just like that. It actually doesn't cancel out your vertical momentum, but it does cancel out your upward speed. So, be careful. But yeah, you can do some fun tricks off of like monitors and badniks. See if I can find a good spot to do that here. It's probably something pretty early on. And because it doesn't counteract your downward speed that much, it also means that if you try to glide when you're really close to landing on the ground, you're probably just going to land on the ground. Let's see. Yeah, something like that. You do have to glide into it, kinda, with good timing. It's hard to describe, actually, but it is a neat and fun thing that you can do. So because Knuckles gets its own Act 1 in this zone, and because the music for that Act 1 feels very like Sonic Adventure 2 Knuckles, this whole zone to me feels very Knuckles. That makes sense. Even if he doesn't necessarily get that much out of the rest of it. The only unfortunate thing about Knuckles Glide in this game is that if you land from it on the ground, you slide a bit, unless you hit an incline like that. And it means that anytime you try to come to a stop from your glide, whether it's from landing out of it or sliding on the ground while gliding, there's no really like smooth way to transition right into another jump. And so in that way it doesn't really keep up flow, but that's okay, I guess. That's fine. It's okay. I still like Knuckles. Also, I should mention his sprite set in this game is amazing. It was drawn from scratch for this game. Like, he doesn't look how he does in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. He doesn't look like he does in Knuckles Chaotix either, which before now was probably like the closest analog to Sonic 1 style in another, or Sonic 1 or 2 style in another Sonic game since those two games. Which is probably only because in that game, Mighty looks exactly like Sonic does in Sonic 1 and 2. You know, whatever. It was clearly a rushed addition to some degree. It's been well documented that at one point Sonic was going to be a playable character in Knuckles Chaotix and Tails too. So, it's obviously a very quick sprite swap. Maybe not that quick, but you know, I don't know what the development time and history of Knuckles Chaotix is, and you know, actually I would like to know, so maybe that's something I'll look into at some point. Yeah, that's Knuckles. He's Knuckles, and he got through Act 2. Good job, Knuckles! You did it! Now he's gonna go fly off to Oil Ocean, and we're gonna go somewhere else entirely. Bye, Knuckles. Enter Mighty the Armadillo. This is the first of the two characters introduced in Mania Plus, and incidentally, Mighty is my favorite Sonic character of all time, so I basically died in March when the South by Southwest panel happened, and they revealed Mania Plus, and they showed off the fact that Mighty and Ray were going to be in it, and it's just, I was so happy. I was so happy. My boy's back. He hasn't been in anything since 1995! Not counting the small cameo appearance in Generations, because it doesn't count. He hasn't been playable in anything since 1995. That's insane! That's 13 years! No, that's way more than 13. What am I talking about? Is that right? That's 23 years! Wow. Wow. So yeah, here's Mighty Armadillo. He's pretty cool. He's got this hammer drop move, and I think it's neat and it's unique, and it can interact with objects in the environment in a lot of interesting ways, but it also really puts a damper on your horizontal momentum, which makes it not always a desirable move, if that makes sense. It can be used for correcting jumps. It can be used for breaking stuff like this, that other characters can't break normally. It can be used for speeding through certain set pieces, because there'll be things like, say, you know how in Chemical Plant there were the tubes that had little barriers on them that you had to break in order to enter the tubes and get zoomed around and stuff? Normally when you break those barriers, you get bounced off of them, and then you get to land on the thing and then go in it. If you use Mighty's hammer drop on it, you just go right through it and immediately enter the tube. So it's a nice little time-saving thing in places, and it just feels nice. But it still doesn't feel like it keeps the pace up in a lot of ways. I guess it's alright. It doesn't stop you dead in your tracks, it just could be a little smoother. But Mighty's other big defining trait is that when he's rolling, he is invulnerable to most spiked things, and a lot of other physical damaging things. Most solid objects that hurt will not hurt Mighty when he's rolling. Some things, like spikes that were on the wall back there, will actually send him out of his rolling state, but a lot of the times he'll actually stay rolling, which means he can just stay invulnerable indefinitely, which is incredible. That's such a new and interesting thing for a Sonic character. And it's really fun. There are a lot of places in the game where if you just stay rolling, stay jumping, Mighty just feels like all-powerful. Like, take him through Metallic Madness, for example. Most of the enemies there are spiked. Most of the enemies and obstacles there are spiked or bladed, and they don't do anything to him. Some of the times they might bounce him out of his roll, but most of the time he just takes it like a champ. It's just nothing, and it feels so good. While this isn't how I would ideally implement Mighty in a 2D Sonic game, in terms of his ability, his air ability, not the other attribute he has of the occasional immunity while rolling, I think he's super fun to play as, and gosh, I'm just happy he's here. So this is one of the big reasons that we're in Press Garden, to show off Mighty. This boss straight up cannot hurt you if you are rolling, which is just so funny to me. Mighty's really a boss killer in this game, but a lot of the time, bosses just can't touch him. Like, even in Green Hill Zone, at the end of Act 2 with the Death Egg robot, Mighty can't get hurt by the spikes at the end of the robot's hands. Most of the time he'll get knocked out of his roll from them, but he still can't get hurt as long as you're rolling. And that's incredible. The other big reason is that Mighty's just really fun in Press Garden Act 2. Because if you combine his Spike Invulnerability with his Hammer Drop, you get stuff like this. Nothing. And it's really fun. He does. With the Ice Spikes. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. He's also, he also has Projectile Invulnerability when he's rolling, which is... there's just so much. He can do stuff like that. He can do stuff like this. He can break through these with his Hammer Drop. He's just endlessly fun. And it's really nice giving him a fire shield in this zone too, because it means that hardly anything can do anything to him. In a weird way, where like Tails is a platforming easy mode in Sonic games, Mighty's kind of like a damage easy mode in this game, which is really neat. That's one of the things I really appreciate about this cast in this game in particular, is that there's variety in the way that each character can approach situations totally differently. It can have different advantages and disadvantages. And you can also take advantage of their advantages to compensate for things you're weak at in these games. Like, maybe you get hit a lot. Maybe you find yourself running into spikes a lot. Maybe try playing Mighty. Maybe you're having difficulty with the platforming, try Tails. Maybe you want things just to be a little more controlled and slow and methodical and slow going in general. Try Knuckles. That was a fun interaction. Or maybe you feel like you're pretty good at the game. Maybe you feel like you know exactly what to do, how to do it. I didn't know that was there until just now, that's cool. Maybe you want to play as Sonic. Or maybe you want to play as the last character. We'll get to soon enough. Zone isn't that much longer. I will say, one of the things I was a little disappointed about with Mighty's Hammer Drop is that you don't get much of a bounce from it. It would be cool if if Mighty was sort of like a Bubble Shield, the character. And he isn't, which was a little disappointing because that's what I expected going into this. Kinda wish I didn't, but I think I would be a little more happy with him if I hadn't had that expectation. But it's okay. It's fine. It's just the sort of thing where if he could bounce a little higher, he could play around with the environment a lot more. But he can't. Oh well. He's still fun. Also, boy, I don't usually come into this fight with a fire shield. Heavy Shinobi is super trivialized like this. Especially when Mighty can just shrug off the stars that Shinobi tosses out. Amazing. And then you can do that, which makes him the best character, objectively speaking. Just simple facts. Oh, what you got there? As if I don't already know. What am I saying? What do I do? And we have Ray, suddenly.
Is my name Ray now?
Yeah, your name is definitely Ray. There are two other people in the video now, that's just the thing that's happening. So the neat thing about Ray is that he's Cape Mario from Super Mario World, but I like it better. Here. And... I don't know, it's weird. I was not expecting to like playing as Ray in this game, especially because I think something I kind of expected going into Mania Plus was that like Ray and Mighty were going to be like Tails and Knuckles analogs to some degree, and that, you know, Knuckles is the more complex, difficult character, Tails is the easy mode, so of course Ray's going to be the easy mode and Mighty's going to be the complex, more difficult character. And no, it's like completely the opposite. Ray is like the most technical anything in Sonic Mania. It's kind of amazing once you get into the swing of using him, and it's just so much fun.
What I actually particularly like about Ray's design is that, like, you know, he thematically with the character, he's meant to be very lightweight, you know, because of his species, and because of that, like, the movement with Ray in the air tends to feel a lot more natural because, like, you can carry that sort of speed as you go in the air. Which is something, personally, like, this is just a it's me, not them sort of thing. Like, I didn't find it, like, to really work well in my favor, because again, you use the Cape Mario analogy, and I totally agree with that. My problem is, and again, personally, that it's more of a Cape Mario situation for me, in that, like, I feel like more of the impact comes from the fact that it's restricted to a certain speed. And that's why I couldn't get into Ray. I still think he's fun, though, and probably easily the most broken character in the game.
That's probably true. That's very interesting. I appreciate your opinion. What's your opinion on the other 4 characters?
See, Mighty nearly came close to replacing Sonic for me, but then I realized Mighty and Sonic are both my best friends. Friendship is regained with both.
Now that's what I call the real superpower of teamwork. And then the video just cuts off right there.
Roll credits. No, I really like Mighty.
Sonic footage. You're just.
See, Sonic is still certainly my first favorite. I mean, there's both the attachment to the character and the fact that I actually just like the drop dash. Drop dash is a beautiful move.
It's really good.
Hammer Stomp. Is that what Mighty's ability is called?
It's called the Hammer Drop.
Hammer Drop. I was close.
I always just
Hammer
called it
was part
Stomp
of it.
too.
Yeah, it is more of a stomp because I think of it like the stomp from the modern games, which is probably why I like it, actually.
Yeah. It's nice because it is sort of like a classic Sonic equivalent to it in that it doesn't completely halt your horizontal speed when you use it.
Oh, thank God, yes. Actually, part of the reason I like it is because it works like it does in Unleashed. And Unleashed... Okay, Unleashed is a Sonic game I can describe as... Okay, it feels as though Sonic is running with butter on his soles, but in the best possible way. Because it's such a very loose game, and it's got some jank, but it's good. Like, it's a good type of, like, weird, like, I suppose, ultra-smooth type of movement. And I really like that in a Sonic game, because then, you know, your movement feels a lot more fluid. Which is why I feel like Mighty's ability... You know, if you're running out of rolling out of a full speed spin dash, and then you drop onto a spring, like you still carry that speed, and it's really good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It just feels like a really, really well timed stomp, and it's really satisfying to nail that. It's like that in Unleashed too.
I have a question for you, Crep.
Yeah.
So you said that you quite enjoy Ray, correct?
Yeah.
Would you say that your experience, as far as like, has his ability limited your like enjoyment of the non-linear level design of Sonic, or do you think his ability works well with that in mind?
It works really well. One of the things that I believe actually Christian Whitehead said in one of the developer diaries they just uploaded to the Sonic YouTube channel recently was just a brief description of both Mighty and Ray. And when he talked about Ray, he was saying how Ray's ability works really well with the tiered level design, and in that it kind of lets you go from layer to layer in a lot of places that other characters can't. In a really fluid way that kind of mixes things up, and then you get to create your own new paths or levels. And I found that really interesting and accurate, honestly. There are a lot of times when playing as Ray so far where I've just decided I'm gonna try to go up there because I can kind of do that if I fudge it just right, and then I can, and it works out, and it's really interesting.
Was that the latest developer interview, like part 2? I think it was just
part 2.
2 parts. Okay,
No.
yeah.
Cat, please.
Yeah, I actually really like that for the fact that like it's very rare to actually see. First and foremost, it's very rare to get video footage of Taxman. He resides in a little bunker developing his top secret Sonic games.
He's a cryptid.
He is a cryptid. But I really like his viewpoints on the additions to Mania Plus, because it's obvious that like the way he was explaining them as more of like, you know, the intent of including the characters as add-on content was obviously just not a tacked-on decision because of the thought they had put into, you know, how they would traverse the levels, like you were saying with Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, it comes to me as somebody who's, you know, developing a Sonic fan game of their own, that, you know, when you introduce characters, you tend to, like, you know, put more hours into playtesting, so, you know, make sure there aren't any soft locks and stuff like that. So that, you know, like, oh, well, because this character has a varying top speed and weight and all that, that something might go wrong and that you might end up in a situation that you can't actually, you know, make it out of. But because Ray is unique in that, like, he has so much capabilities that, like, that isn't even an issue. Because most of the other stuff remains intact. Because, like, I forget. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, there's no alteration to top speed, acceleration, and weight with Ray, right?
To my
It's just his
knowledge, all of the
ability?
characters had the same top speed and acceleration. I could
Well,
be wrong,
yeah.
but I think that's true, even for characters like Knuckles.
But well, weight is obviously the you know the caveat there. Like
Yeah.
weight, what is that? Does that differ with Ray? Like my point is like regardless of that, like Ray would not have to worry about that as much as per se like a character like Knuckles because of his altered jump height.
Right. Ray controls really standardly outside of his ability.
So I'd imagine like there wasn't really that much like necessity to playtest him outside of the ability because if all function practically identically, then for the most part you wouldn't have to worry about soft locks because he has so much accessibility, which is a good design.
That's generally a good positive to Sonic character gameplay design in the 2D games like this. Because most of the time they're just variations on the base gameplay, and so it is just the one specific unique defining trait that they have to deal with in testing and development.
It's true.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a lot more natural than maybe I even gave it credit for. Just
Oh no, I
idea-wise.
died.
Oh no.
But you can't see that because I'm recording and I'm not showing it to you. You'll get to see it later.
I mean, you probably could have showed it to us.
I guess.
Instead, I was showing me.
Yeah, right now Brett's also playing Sonic Mania over screen share in Discord.
It's true. I'm playing Mirage Saloon because it's good.
It is
Good
good.
level.
I could have also been screen sharing. That would have been an option, but I don't know if my computer would like to handle that while I'm also running OBS. I don't know.
So, with you recording right now, is spoiler territory out of the question? Because I want to talk about one of the levels.
Go for it, because I'm at the Metal Sonic boss where it's changed, so spoilers are happening.
Okay, well, this is, regular mode or encore mode?
I'm regular.
It is an encore mode level, and exclusive to encore.
Whatever.
Should I talk about it? Okay. I'm so glad there's a Mirage Saloon Act 1.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It's really good, too.
It is. It is quite literally now my favorite level in the game. Like, it used to be... maybe Studiopolis is still up there. Studiopolis is kind of hard to top. Like,
It is.
but in terms of a very, very close second favorite, it's gotta go to the new Act 1 from Mirage Saloon, because, God, Brad Flick, I don't know if it was you involved, but that is a beautiful level. Like, it feels straight out of, like... It feels kind of Metropolis-y in a way, and I really dig that, because, like... Be it as it may, Metropolis may have poor enemy placement, but I think it's actually one of the more, like, better structured Sonic 2 levels as a result, because, like, Sonic 2 has this weird problem of the levels having a strict higher root / lower root, design philosophy to them. And I don't think that's a bad idea, but, like, Sonic 2 follows that super heavily, and it doesn't have much variety as a result.
That's true. Like, the only other variety that has significantly is like, the odd super linear level, like Hilltop.
Yes. But as I was saying, like, I think that, like, basing it off of, like, the Metropolis layout, whereas, like, yes, you do have, like, the few alternate paths, but, like, for the most part, there are those really, really tight condensed spaces that still have the rolling terrain. Actually, now that I think about it, it's a little bit more like a combination of Metropolis and Starlight. With the desert theme. Yeah.
I can kind of see that. It's really masked by how much is going on visually in the zone.
Hi, I'm Chenji. I'm passionate about Sonic level design.
Hi, I'm Krep. I'm passionate about Sonic characters.
Hi, I'm Brett. I like the games.
This is true.
Thanks for coming to our TED Talk.
Our collaborative TED Talk. Where
So-
I'm just in the
Just TED
background
talking.
playing.
Yeah, I don't know who Ted is. I don't think I invited anyone by that name. So
Too fucking much, TBH.
I'm in Hydro City now. So if you two want, like, lightning round on the rest of your opinions, and then the video will just end.
Sonic Mania good. That is my
Sonic Mania
opinion.
good.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
You
in
talked
terms of
about Mighty and Ray and Sonic.
Oh
Two
yeah,
other
Tails
characters
and
also.
Knuckles. Okay, so Tails and Knuckles, like, I was addressing the Plus characters first because, like,
Oh yeah,
Plus is relevant. They're new, so we're going to talk about them
that's
first.
why I made this video.
So Tails and Knuckles, you know, are relatively unchanged from their Genesis iterations, which obviously, like, you're making a Genesis Sonic game or a Genesis-styled Sonic game. Like, keeping them faithful is very important. Now, one thing that I wish they would do, and that this is something that I have always felt about Knuckles, is that okay, my exposure to Knuckles, at least my favorite incarnation, has been through Adventure, in which Knuckles has the ability to resume glide out of a canceled glide. And I feel like that's not integral to Knuckles' kit, but I think it's a good addition because it makes gliding a lot more fun, because it's like, oh, well, I want to glide, but hey, what if I want to do a 180? And Ray actually kind of has that, you know?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because, like, he has that 180 because you can actually just sort of spin jump and then immediately do the air ability to get the 180 and cancel all the movement. Whereas Knuckles, you can do that, but it doesn't flow nearly as well.
I agree with that. I think it's one of the few reasons that, despite being a total joke character, sometimes I actually have fun playing as Ugly Knux in Sonic Robo Blast 2.
Yes! Yeah.
It's fun to be able to decide you want to drop a little and then keep gliding. It just feels good also. It feels natural. It
Totally.
feels weird that he can't do it?
Yeah. One other thing that Roboblast does that I'd like to see done in a 2D Sonic is, you know, descent with another button as Tails. Like,
Yeah.
that alone is kind of why I really, really like playing Tails in Roboblast. Hell, I like playing all the characters in Roboblast. Roboblast is just really good about its characters.
It's funny, because that's actually a trait about Tails in 2D Sonic that I addressed earlier in the video, was how I don't like playing as Tails so much, because whenever I ascend, I can't quickly descend, and it makes me not want to ascend, which means I'm not using Tails' core gimmick in a way that's fun to me, and
I totally get that. Which is why, like, I feel like a good solution would be, you know, just giving the player the ability to do that. Because, and not only that, like, if you actually do that, because of the way it works in Roboblast, you can actually, you know, make that descent work in tandem with momentum. And Tails could be a really satisfying character as a result.
yeah, I think so.
Whereas, like, it almost worked like Ray, just like alternative, where, you know, instead of Ray, you know, just doing the rhythmic, you know, patterns on the D-pad, with Tails, it's just mashing. So,
I think, in general, like, it'd be neat if Tails had a little more player-controlled maneuverability.
I completely agree.
Just anything
Same.
that makes him feel like you can keep the pace up with him while working the way he does.
Okay, I'm watching Brett's stream right now, and right now he's on my favorite level, favorite act 2.
Yeah.
Like, I really like Act 2 of Studiopolis.
Unfortunately, I do not have Studiopolis in this video.
Ah. Oh well.
Studiopolis.
It's okay. I
It's
distinctly
pronounced
remember...
Studiosity.
Not Studiosity. Not Hydropolis either.
Hydropolis.
If I remember correctly from stuff that I recorded yesterday, oh no.
Oh no.
It was Green Hill for Sonic, Chemical Plant for Tails, Mirage Saloon for Knuckles, and Rest Garden for Mighty.
Gotta say, Mirage Saloon is the total Knuckles level.
Yeah, completely.
Well, I mean, also completely because it gets the, you know, the character-specific act, but also just because, like, you know, Mirage Saloon is a very fitting level because of OVA Knuckles and the cowboy hat.
Yeah, the whole thing just feels very Knuckles to me. And, yeah, I don't feel like playing more of Hydro City, so I guess it's the end of the video. Thanks for coming. I'm gonna put links to Chenji's and Brett's YouTube channels in the description. They both have on YouTube also, and they sometimes do it. Hope you have a good evening, day, night, day, time of place. Love you.
Bye, YouTube people!